Hi. Okay, cool. So let's get back to the series where I'm explaining, I'm a licensed therapist, by the way. I'm explaining how to build a deeper relationship with your body and connect with your intuition using somatic psych theory. So this is part 2 of a video where I'm explaining how the ventral vagus works, and that's the space for safety and connection in our brains. I'm going to link part 1 in the description, obviously. So just like the other 2 parts of the autonomic nervous system, the ventral vagus has a huge effect on how we see ourselves, how we see others, and how we see the larger world around us. The ventral vagus activates a state of mind where it is so much easier to see and explore all your options, as compared to survival mode where your thinking is way more rigid and stuck. Your thinking might be very black and white. You might not have the energy to consider all of your options, etc. Before I say this, I want to say that yes, it is incredibly important and essential for community building and essential for healing that people hold themselves accountable for the ways that they have harmed others and themselves. The point I'm about to make is not refuting that, okay? People also need to factor in that part of the reason they can see what they coulda, shoulda done in the past is that they are no longer in that survival state, and as a result are able to see things more clearly and have more access to options and tools that maybe they couldn't see before. Not only does the ventral vagus help us see things more clearly, it also helps us name the things and people causing and or adding to our stress. When you have a way to sustainably regulate your nervous system, whether it is regulating yourself and or co-regulating with community, because ideally you would have both, just because one just isn't enough when you're just thinking about how to make sure that you and your nervous system are supported when we're dealing with everything that life is throwing at us right now. Doing it yourself isn't going to cut it, and relying only on other people isn't going to cut it either. You kind of need both the ability to regulate your own nervous system and the community, the strong, supportive community around you, so that you guys can co-regulate with each other. It's like really important. But yes, once your nervous system is regulated more sustainably, you start to notice things that you didn't really notice before. And I've talked about this in a previous video, but yeah, you start to notice things that you didn't really notice before. And then those things get harder and harder to ignore. Now, a lot of the time, the answer is complex. Some of the problems that become harder and harder to ignore, the clearer and clearer your mind becomes, are linked to systemic oppressions or related to socialization, which is also linked to systemic oppressions. I have a video on socialization if you don't know exactly what I mean by that. I actually have 2 videos on socialization, so if you don't know what I mean by that and need more clarity, please feel free to check those out. Some of it is very likely your environment. Work stress, the relationships in your lives, the state of the home you live in, etc. And some of it is you. You are sometimes the drama. And I don't mean that in a victim blaming way at all. Again, part of the clarity that comes with ventral vagal activation is holding ourselves accountable for the ways that we've harmed others and ourselves. And along with that clearer mind, you might notice your priorities and values start to change. And ideally, you might start to feel that the way you move in the world has got to change along with it. Part of what makes this personal somatic work so essential in community building is learning how your nervous system works and learning how to not harm others regardless of what your nervous system is doing. And also, if you do harm someone, how you and your community can incorporate what we know about the body to intentionally and genuinely support restitution. Being able to regulate yourself and or co-regulate with community makes it easier to figure out if someone or something is safe to you. And it also makes it easier to manage conflicts in a way that aligns more consistently with values instead of repeating trauma patterns and systemic oppressions in your community interactions and relationships. Working on your vagal break alone and in community when possible is important for learning how to react to things without acting from a place where you're controlled by anger or anxiety or from a place of emotional disconnection. And it becomes easier to allow your nervous system to help you determine who your actual community is and who is safer to build with. It's the difference between rushing to conflict resolution and intentionally making sure that everyone's nervous systems have what they need to be open to connection. Learning how your ventral vagus works in different situations and learning how to engage it on purpose whenever you need to is, to me, the fun part of somatic work. It's playing around and exploring the things, people, and parts of your life that feel rewarding, calming, comforting, thrilling, etc. And then learning how to sit in those moments and enjoy them without becoming overwhelmed and without wondering when the shoe is going to drop. Learning how to choose to be present enough to enjoy these moments so completely that you can use them as leftovers later. And these leftovers can be used as tools and resources to regulate your nervous system and emotions in the future. Part of this work involves learning what rest, safety, and connection feel like to you, and giving yourself permission to learn and listen to your body and your nervous system around what feels safe to you and why. So I'm just going to throw some questions up real quick. These are some reflection questions to help you in your journey to figure out what ventral vagus activation feels like for you. So feel free to pause or take a screenshot here. So like the other two parts of the autonomic nervous system, I want to talk about some of the feelings associated with a ventral vagal state. When your social engagement system is reared up and activated, when your vagal brake is engaged. Right? So there's a lot of feelings associated with this state of mind, so I'll only cover a few. But think of the times that you've been in nature and you felt in awe, or times where you've eaten food and you've just felt just so good because this meal just hit every single spot, right? Times that you've just been attentive, right? Times that you've just felt calm or comforted, times that you felt connected to the people around you, right? Times that you felt excited, but not like too excited, times that you felt at peace. There's so many times that you felt relaxed. There's so many emotions that we consider pleasurable that are associated with ventral vagal activations. The next part is going to cover situations where at least two parts of your autonomic nervous system are working together. Basically, the neurobiological reasons why your elders keep telling you to stop play fighting with people, while suddenly the play part can end and the fighting start up. If this video or any of my videos have been helpful to you, please consider joining my $3 Patreon. I'm Frill, a licensed therapist practicing in the states of New York, Georgia, and Florida, and I am Frill raising money to provide more Black people with free somatic psychotherapy. So if you feel moved, please support. Thank you so much.